Hello, I'm Alisa from School of Liberal Arts, Sukhothai Thammathirat Open University.
And I'm Jay. Welcome to Culture Me, where we talk about cultural issues and differences. If you have any questions or comments, please email us at stoucultureme@gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/stoucultureme. And don't forget to like us.
สวัสดีค่ะนี่เป็นรายการที่23แล้วนะคะสำหรับCulture Me Show ของเราถ้าท่านผู้ฟังมีความคิดเห็นอยากจะแลกเปลี่ยนหรือว่าเสนอแนะก็ส่งข้อมูลมาได้ที่อีเมลหรือว่าเข้าไปที่ Facebook นะคะอาจารย์ What are we going to talk about today?
Well, I read an excerpt from a new book called Fish Can't See Water.
Wow.
How national culture can make or break your corporate strategy. And it talks about how
Who wrote that, อาจารย์
Kai Hammerich and Richard Lewis are the authors.
This will be about like in business context, right?
Exactly. And the excerpt I read is about how different cultures say, I disagree.
Yeah, I think when you are in business, you have to negotiate and maybe you have to agree or disagree, but mostly maybe disagree with the offer the other party suggests, and
Exactly.
you want your own, criteria or your own agenda, right?
Right. There's no meeting or negotiations, I think, ever that everyone just agrees on everything and it's smooth as silk. It just that usually doesn't happen. And so there always some issues that come up and you need to disagree with that, but it's important to know if you're dealing with other cultures that the words that they use and the way that they are saying I disagree may be completely different from your own culture.
Yeah. Ajahn, could you give us some general overview of each country, each type of people, whether it's common or not?
Sure. The book talks about how Germans are by far the most open, honest, and direct in meetings.
In terms of disagreeing.
In terms of disagreeing with anything, basically.
And they consider it to be the most honest things to do.
Exactly. And it might sound a little rude to other cultures, but they don't intend that at all. They value the directness and they value the honesty.
So they're not beating around the bush.
Exactly.
Or, indirectly.
Exactly. Americans are also very direct, but also Americans are famous for being very informal. And so things that an American would say disagreeing, it's going to be direct, but it's also going to be very informal.
And Finns.
The Finns
Is from what country?
Finland. They are known for being direct, but also hesitant. They make it clear, but they're a little hesitant on just coming out and being blunt. But they're still considered to be direct because the point is clear.
Ajahn, what about the East Asian cultures?
Well, from what the book says, but you are our expert on this, but they say that open disagreement is often taboo. What do you think?
From what I read from my experience, I think we tend to have tactics, to say things that we disagree so that we don't offend the other party. I think that's my idea.
Okay. But everyone knows what the real meaning is.
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe they have to figure out whether it's a yes or a no. But they won't be offended. So they can figure it out quite easily, I think.
Okay. Well, that's similar. The British, they really don't like open conflict, and they'll use a lot of what the book refers to as coded speech, sort of like euphemisms or expressions.
Yeah, that's how we do that too in East Asian. I think.
Okay. And the Swedish are famous for liking everyone to agree. They like a consensus. They like everyone to agree. Chinese like more ambiguity.
And ambiguity means
You're not sure. It's if something's ambiguous, it's not completely clear. There's some mystery. You're just not sure if they are pro or con something. And for a Western country, Italians are very well known for being indirect compared to other Western countries. And Japanese are very concerned about a loss of face.
Yeah, I think this is in many culture in East Asian. I think.
The Swiss are very concerned about being precise and correct. And the Filipinos show a deference to their superiors, the hierarchical system. Brazilians are famous for being very, very cheerful.
In disagreeing?
Even in disagreeing, and they always want to stay very positive. They always, and so they can sound, their tone and their words can actually sound very positive, but they're actually disagreeing with you. So
I think we have to do some research on the time it takes to come to the agreement, whether to be indirect and direct, how fast is it, and
that would be a good study.
The effects
Yeah.
of to be direct or indirect, to be polite or not so polite.
Exactly. That would be a good study. That would be a good study.
Can you give us some sample of the phrases that we may use or hear in the negotiation?
Yes.
When you agree or disagree.
Okay. I'm going to give you some listed from the book that would be fairly commonly heard if someone disagrees. These are all for someone who is disagree. A German would just say, "I don't agree."
Oh, very
That's it.
direct,
very
and
direct,
open,
right?
and to the point.
A French person might say, "I'm afraid I don't share your opinion."
Softer.
It's softer. It's softer, but still fairly direct. There are two examples that they gave for British. I agree up to a point.
This one is sort of like leaving some space to
Exactly.
to disagree later.
Exactly.
Very tactics.
And let's agree to disagree. Which is it's a common expression. Let's agree to disagree, and it just means I don't agree with you, you don't agree with me, but let's not fight about it. Let's not argue. Let's not argue. A Japanese person disagreeing may say we agree.
My goodness. So how does the other party know what the decision
I think
is?
tone and facial expression, and I think things would have to be clarified
On the paper.
Yes, exactly. And maybe some private meetings after.
Private
Meetings after. The Swedish who love the consensus, we agree if all of us agree.
This one like care for other people's feelings.
Right, and they just want everyone to be on the same team, on the same side, and of the same opinion. The Chinese, the ambiguity, we agree and disagree at the same time.
This one might follow with a lot of reasons for agreeing and disagreeing.
Exactly. So with just that statement, you really...
Yeah, I think it's kind of in the process of negotiating.
Exactly.
But these phrases reflect some of the characteristic or culture of each nation, right?
Exactly. Finnish would say, have another cup of coffee.
Oh, I like that.
I do
I mean, when
too.
people
I do
offer
too.
you a cup of coffee, then, things seem to be relaxing, Maybe they come to the very heated debate on some issue.
Right,
and
right.
and to the point that they have to bang the table or something,
Exactly.
And then some people say, have another cup of coffee
Exactly.
and some cookies, I hope.
Take a little break. Take a little break. A Swiss would say, I agree with you, but I don't think my board of directors will. So they kind of refer to a technicality or some sort of process, that it can't happen, whatever this idea is. And an American, and yes, this one is very common. Someone disagrees. You've got to be kidding.
Very informal.
Very
isn't it?
informal.
This time like to be humorous sometimes.
Exactly. Joking. Yeah, totally. Filipino would say, you're the boss.
Meaning disagree. But these people will have to do what it is that come out.
Exactly.
Sound like very ironic in a sense, you think?
Yeah, it is. And also, this one I know if someone said that in America, in American culture, it could be taken as being sarcastic. So it's why to be aware of what other cultures say, because that could easily be taken as sarcastic.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. But in Filipino culture, it's not. It's just, well, you're the boss, so it's basically them saying, I don't agree, but you're the boss, you're higher, and you know more than I do. So the Brazilian cheerfulness and optimism, even if they disagree, they might say, I suppose anything's possible.
They don't pinpoint the issue, isn't it?
Right,
Just,
right. Go for the positive. For the positive. And Italian, the most indirect of Western cultures, in some people's opinion, if they disagree, they might say, let's go and have a drink and talk about it tomorrow.
Like the Finnish, have another cup of coffee.
Exactly.
So, Ajahn, in business context and for your own business interests, how should you, view these kind of differences, and how would you act in an disagreeing situation?
Well, number one, it's important to know what other culture you're dealing with, what they say if they do disagree. The common expressions and the knowing a lot about the culture, so that you understand and that there aren't any misunderstandings. You think that they agree, but they really did not. And to try to find some common ground. It's also important for the other culture to understand your culture, but you can't control that. But it's important to try to find some common ground. And the book talks about how you should try to adapt, but you shouldn't try to completely change yourself to match this other culture, because it probably won't work.
Yeah, it might be sounds fake or
exactly,
something.
exactly. And that, within all cultures, there are things that we can't change about ourselves, no matter what. It's in us, and if we did try to come across that way, it would be exactly what you said. It would come across as fake. There are some things like Americans' belief in individualism, as opposed to the group harmony. You can't take that out of most Americans. It's in there. And hierarchy in a lot of Asian cultures. An Asian can't just, well, okay, I'm not going to think like that anymore. It's not possible. It's not possible to take that out of your soul, because you were kind of born with that.
So I think we should create win-win situations where everybody can be themselves and can, respect others.
Exactly.
And come to an agreement of some sort.
Right. And there are some very, very good ways in English to be extremely polite, but also be very clear that you are disagreeing. So, like if you partially agree with someone, if you agree with a little bit, it's great to say that because it makes it the other person feel like, well, you agree with part of what I said, and there are things you can say like, I agree with you to a point, but
some people just hate this but.
Yes, but it's still better than saying I don't agree. In most cultures, I understand what you are saying. However, I see what you're saying, but
this is like what we did once in English softener, isn't it?
Yes,
that we try to tone down the phrases that may be too strong for the other party.
Exactly.
And I think this may concern with the non-verbal as well, right? The facial expression and also the tone of the voice that we speak.
That can make or break anything.
So, Ajahn, how do we soften our disagreement?
You can start with words like I'm afraid or I'm sorry, and then I'm sorry I don't agree, I'm afraid I don't agree, and it just makes it sound nicer. It makes it sound nicer. And there are also sounds that you can make also, like and then adding your disagreement, because we often make this when we're thinking, and it's letting the person know, well, you've thought about it, or you're thinking about it, and you're not just
jump
reacting
into the yes or the no right away.
Exactly. But one really creative way is to avoid the negative words.
How do we do that, Ajahn?
Well, instead of saying that is a bad idea, that is a bad idea, say, I don't think that's such a good idea. So you're not using the word bad, but you're saying not good. And it actually does make it seem softer and more polite. And I disagree with you. I disagree with you. Not saying that. Say, I don't think I can agree with you. I don't think I can agree with you. And that is the worst idea. That is the worst idea. And even if it's what we're really thinking, it still doesn't sound very good to insult someone.
So you should say what?
I'm not sure that is the best idea. I'm not sure that is the best idea.
John, these are options, isn't it? But what if your personality a direct person, you would like to say, that's the worst idea.
It's many, and we're all guilty, I think, of thinking that. We're all guilty of thinking it, but in business, it's better to just be as polite as possible. But also, with a lot of cultures, you need to be clear. You need to be clear because they may misunderstand expressions
and
or
harm your business.
Exactly.
Okay, Ajahn, thank you very much for this differences in disagreeing and an overview of this the typical or stereotype of each country,
each
nationality.
It's interesting.
Maybe we have to dig deeper into each person's personality as well.
That plays a big part.
Thank you very much, Ajahn.
Thanks for joining us.